I took an online class, and on my very first test, I was having complications with the computer I was using, and so it had shut down on me. And so when I went back to the test, I had answered only 4 out of the 100 questions. So basically I got F in the course. And so when I had contacted and emailed the professor, he never responded back, so I dropped the class. And moral of the story, having an online class had its perks, but it had its downfalls. I will be talking about why having classroom education is better than having an online one. So I know some may have taken online courses already, and some of you may even be thinking about taking some. That's why today I want to show you why having online class doesn't really help out. Today I will discuss the disadvantages to online classes, advantages to having an on-campus class, and why it is the better choice. First, I want to talk about the disadvantages to having an online course. According to New York Times, Mark Edmondson stated, "I started the program with enthusiasm, but I started to feel alone and unsupported. I had no one to impress or disappoint. I struggled to stay motivated." And basically, online course took away that competition that he had with his peers. And even though some people may not admit it, I know many of you will like to rub it into your classmates' face when you get that A on your test, and be like, yeah, I did better than you and all that. So I mean, it takes away that competition, and it stops motivating the person to push them to get a better grade. And then according to Persuasive, it states, "It may be hard to express your thoughts, feelings, or opinion in writing." And basically sometimes for the students, they get scared that they may offend the professor if they email them, as well as misunderstanding of communication. And I have many situations where emails with professors have been difficult and they never respond, which is very irritating on my part because I hate when professors don't reply to you, and it becomes difficult and stressful. Lastly, according to FastWeb, lots of reading from the lecture to textbooks to discussion board posts, which you must read and respond to. You have to be not to miss the vital information. And basically that's the biggest downfall to having an online course. It's based on all reading, and there's no face-to-face interaction with each other, so it makes it harder to retain that information as well as to receive it. And I know many students hate reading, so if you do hate reading, that's going to be a downfall for you because you cannot really stay on task, plus procrastination occurs a lot. And then for me, I'm a very hands-on kind of person, a very auditory learner, so when it comes to reading, it becomes harder for me to understand the information and it takes longer for me to retain it. And so now I want to talk about the advantages to having an on-campus class. According to Technical and Vocational School Guide, classroom learning provides first-hand interaction with the educating professor, also allows for ideas to be exchanged freely and without any communication barriers. And basically, communication with each other is properly distributed, and everyone can understand each other easily. That face-to-face interaction allows the ideas to be shared, as well as it makes it more convenient rather than you having to type to a student, waiting for them to respond, and it may take days for them to answer back. Also, it allows them to participate in live discussions and ask questions. Also, according to Hub Pages, another pro to having on campus is that more access to campus activity. And with the campus activities, it helps broaden their knowledge. And it helps them to make new friends, also meet new people, and it helps them to join clubs, fraternities, and sororities. This helps broaden their education and help them grow with learning new cultures. Lastly, according to Global Post, you can listen to the instructor and receive visual cues through handouts or PowerPoint. And basically, I like this because you just listen to the teacher instead of having to read. And also, it helps you to better understand the material that is given to you. Students will understand their lecture even more, as well as they're able to ask questions in class. Now that I talked about why having classroom education is better, I want to explain why it is the better choice for you. According to New York Times, a face-to-face meeting in a classroom imposes accountability, inspires effort, and promotes academic responsibility in subtle ways that we don't fully appreciate. And basically, it helps them to stay alert. The instructor will always be looking at the student, so then the student wouldn't do things that would help them stand out the most. So they would stay alert and keep focused on their stuff. And it helps them to push every day, and then competition keeps them focused as well. This also teaches them to be on time to class and responsibility as well, so it helps them for the future. And in conclusion, I have talked about the disadvantages to online courses, the advantages to having an on-campus class, and why that is a better choice. I hope that when you choose to take an online class that you take into consideration what I have talked about, and hopefully will one day choose to take an on-campus class instead. Thank you.
That's how they wanted to do it. They want to do that as though. I think they want to do it. That's the only one I would want to take.
Nicole.
Yes. Okay. I thought you had a good beginning. I liked how you shared your personal experience and how you maintained throughout the speech keeping a personal relationship with the audience. It made me want to believe you more on the subject because you can relate to us in that way. I got that your thesis was that classroom education is better than online education. I liked your preview. It was thorough, and I knew exactly what you were going to talk about throughout the speech. And for the most part, and mostly you did talk about everything that you said in your preview. Your signposts were really clear. Let's see. Yeah, I could tell whenever you're going on to the next point. I think you would have made your speech stronger if, I'm not sure if you came up with like an opposing viewpoint and proved it wrong, but other than that, I thought it was pretty strong. You had a good amount of sources. I always thought FAFSA was just like some random website where you create a website, but I'm not quite sure because you quoted that a lot, and I wasn't really sure what FastWeb was. So that if you kind of cleared that up, it might have been better. The only thing I'd say really was that you stared at your flashcards a lot, which I'm sure is just from a lack of preparation and memorization. So, and then your conclusion was pretty solid. So, yeah.
All right, I'll agree with most of what you said there. I do think at the end of the presentation there was also a very good summary of what it was you're trying to get across. That helps. I think your proof, sometimes, basically it sounds like we've got an authority or a personal example, and you're basically assuming that that's enough to create a generalization from. I have no doubt that there are some online classes that are a lot more involving and engaging than the classes that you could be taking in a classroom. It just probably depends on the subject matter and how their interactive web experience is designed. But from what you described, I could certainly see that there would be quite a few problems in many of the experiences that people would have. And I thought you outlined those pretty effectively. The delivery issues, your eye contact is really problematic. A lot of reading at this particular point. I think that it's sort of late in the process to be still having to read so much, but I know that you had prepared the material. I just think you needed to practice it a little bit more and be thinking more from the outline rather than trying to get all of the movement from one point to the next perfect or the exact quote in a particular spot. It just felt a little bit less polished than it should have been as a consequence. All right, thank you.